What's up, guys? We're about a week out from UFC Fight Night Poirier versus Pettis. This is a pretty stacked card for a free card. However, it's not going to be free for me because I will be going to this event. I'm going to witness it live. UFC said they were coming to Virginia, and I was like, well, this is probably the closest they're going to get for a long time, so I got to get tickets. However, last night I found out that UFC will actually be coming to Charlotte in January, which is even closer. So maybe if everything works out, I'll go to that one too, but who knows. So anyway, before I get into this one, obviously I'm going to have to talk about the card last night. Crazy night, crazy day to be an MMA fan. Looking back, it doesn't even seem real. So let's get into my discussion of last night's predictions. So as you guys can see, my night actually started out pretty smoothly in terms of predictions. The first fight went generally how I thought it would, except Johnny actually lasted a round, which I thought he did good, but that's kind of sad considering he got TKO'd in the second round. That's good for him these days. Moving on to Stephen Thompson, that fight went, I promise you, exactly like I thought in my mind. I knew Stephen would stay on the outside, pepper Jorge with some shots, use that point karate style, and ultimately get the decision, which did happen. But unfortunately for me, as soon as that boy Stephen left the octagon, my night, in terms of predictions, went downhill from there. I say in terms of predictions because I don't want to take anything away from UFC 217. In my opinion, this was probably in the top 3 best UFC events ever. Crazy night, crazy night. I'm assuming it was also a pretty tough night for anyone that tried to predict it. It's not every day that 3 champions lose their belts in one night. Personally, I don't watch anybody else's prediction videos because, as you may have noticed, I kind of like doing this myself. But I'm assuming a lot of people probably have the similar outcomes to me. But I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying it was such a crazy night that a lot of analysts probably got baffled. Joanna, 14-0, walked through everyone before Rose. I mean, destroyed everyone before Rose. And Rose comes in there and knocks her out in the first round. I mean, that's something that 1% of the population thought was going to happen. Rose by first round knockout. I could have seen first round submission barely, but first round knockout, that's like, I thought I was dreaming. Like, I thought somebody was about to wake me up and say, bro, the fight's about to start, like, for real. And then TJ versus Cody, another crazy 1% of the population outcome. So who in the world would have thought that TJ was going to starch Cody? Like, he stood with Cody. I think it was either a right hook or a left hook that ultimately put Cody down and out. TJ went from almost being knocked out at the end of the first round to, in the second round, connecting that head kick, put Cody down, which surprised me at first, but Cody popped right back up, so I was like, nah, it didn't really faze him. But then TJ got in that Philly shell and just threw that left to right hook, I can't remember what it was, and just put Cody out. I was sitting there like, oh my god, what did I just witness? And as a huge Cody fan, that was really hard to watch, and it was really weird to see Cody get knocked out like that. I mean, everybody's seen that video of him getting knocked out in his amateur career, but at this point, after being so dominant in the UFC, it was just really weird to see. Also, a little side note, for some reason Maddox didn't walk out with him. I don't know why that was, and if any of you guys know, could you please comment that, because it was really weird. Maddox, he just got through talking about how Maddox and him were like in this pact. I mean, they wrote a book about it, and then I was just wondering if maybe Maddox got like stage fright and didn't want to walk out, like TJ's scary or something like that. So if any of you guys know, I'd like to hear about it in the comments. The only person on the card that I really feel bad for doubting is GSP, because I wanted GSP to win. I didn't think he could possibly do it, but I wanted him to win, and that just shows you right there how, look guys, I don't want you to get mad, but personally I think that GSP is the greatest of all time. If you look at his record, if you look at who he's beaten, who he's destroyed, how he's come back from losses, hit 2 belts in 2 different weight classes, came back after 4 years and beat the champion. I think GSP deserves to be the greatest of all time. So all in all, UFC 217 was a great card, great night of fights. I guess I owe a formal apology to Rose Namajunas. I said she wasn't ready, but she proved to me that she was in fact ready. So again, crazy good night of fights. My predictions could have been a little bit better. I wish I could tell the future for you guys, but I can't. All I can do is give my best analysis. But anyways, enough about UFC 217. It's time to get into these UFC Norfolk predictions. Like I said earlier, I will be at this event. I'm very thankful that I'm able to go. Really excited. Like usual, you can skip all around this video. If there's a particular matchup you came to see, you can go to the timestamps in the description of this video and just skip all around. But without further ado, let's get into this first fight on the main card. Okay, so first up, we have Joe Lauzon versus Clay Guida. I think it's safe to say that both of these guys are a little bit over the hill. They're out of their prime. I think this fight will not end in a finish. A lot of people view Joe as a submission artist, and he was earlier in his career, but he hasn't submitted anyone in a long time. So I personally think this fight is going to mostly be on the feet. Joe's kind of transitioned to striking in his past couple fights, it seems like. Clay just goes with whatever happens. I think Joe has the advantage in this fight on the feet and on the ground. I'm not sleeping on Clay Guida. I just think this fight is going to be close. It'll probably end in a close decision. And if it does, I definitely see it going towards Joe Lauzon. Next up, we have Raphael Assunção versus Matthew Lopez. I don't really understand why Matthew Lopez is getting to jump so far ahead in the rankings. Oh, and also, it doesn't say his record on here for some reason, but he's 10-1. I definitely don't think Matthew's going to win this fight. I think Raphael is just a better all-around fighter. He's beat bigger names. But also Raphael's past, I think, 7 fights have gone to decision. So I don't see Raphael finishing Matthew Lopez, but I don't see Matthew Lopez winning. So my expert opinion is that Raphael is just going to, I guess, dominate for 3 rounds and get the decision victory. I don't really think he's going to get caught. I definitely don't think he's going to get submitted. If anything, Raphael could submit Matthew Lopez, but I don't think that's going to happen. So my final prediction is that Raphael is going to win by decision. Next up, we have Nate the Great Marquardt versus Cezar Ferreira. This is a fight where I want Nate to win. I really do. I'll be pulling for Nate the whole time, but I just don't really think he can do it. He didn't look good at all against Vitor. Personally, I thought the judges could have said that Nate won that fight, but he didn't look that good. I think Nate's definitely over the hill. He was once a guy that was known for having crazy power in his hands. I mean, he knocked out Tyron Woodley. He knocked out Damian Maia in like 21 seconds. But now he just didn't show that against Vitor. So, but I think if Nate does win, it will be by knockout or by some sort of TKO stoppage. But I just think that Cezar is going to just push for a decision, and that's what it's going to be. I don't see Nate getting knocked out. However, both of these guys are a little bit chinny. Cezar's been knocked out a handful of times, and so is Nate. But I just think this is going to go back and forth on the feet, and Cezar is ultimately going to get the decision. It might be a close decision, and Nate might even knock him out, but I just think that Cezar is going to win by decision. Next up, we have another Johnny Hendricks type fight here. We have the UFC trying to suck the last little bit of star power out of Andrei Arlovski's name. How far you have fallen, Andrei. I mean, this guy was once the champion, once on top of the world, but now his chin has turned to dust, and he gets knocked out left and right. So my prediction shouldn't be too hard to guess. I definitely think that Junior's going to knock this man out. I mean, I'm just happy I'm going to get to see Andrei in person, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to see him get knocked out. So my prediction, probably everybody else in the world's prediction, is Junior by first or second round knockout. I'm going to go ahead and say, I'm going to give Andrei the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say second round knockout, although it's probably going to be the first round. For the co-main event of the evening, we have Matt the Immortal Brown versus Diego Lionheart Sanchez. Guys, I already know this is going to be a great fight. I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but this could be like fight of the night. I'm really excited I get to see this in person. Both of these guys are a little bit over the hill, and both of these guys have suffered some like semi-brutal finishes in their past couple fights. I know Matt Brown is on a 3-fight losing streak, all by finish, and Diego's gotten brutally knocked out 2 times, and I think it's in his past 5 fights. Something to take into consideration here, this fight is at welterweight, which is Matt Brown's weight class. Diego is moving up from lightweight, so that could be a potential disadvantage for him. I think Matt Brown has already declared that this is going to be his last fight, win or lose. I could be wrong, though. Matt Brown looked great against Cowboy. in his last fight, I would honestly say that Matt Brown was winning that fight until he got knocked out. Like, if that would have gone to decision and kept going the way it was going, I would have said Matt Brown beat Cowboy. So I'm going to go ahead and say that Matt Brown wins by decision, but I'm also well aware that this fight could end at any moment by knockout from either guy. Either guy could get knocked out at any point in the fight, which kind of makes it hard to predict. But if it goes the way I think it's going to go, I'm going to say Matt Brown by decision. And finally, we have the main event, Dustin Poirier versus Anthony Pettis. I'm super excited about this fight. This is a pay-per-view worthy fight. I know it's going to be a war, and I'm also feeling pretty bold in terms of predictions. I think it's safe to say that Anthony Pettis has progressively gotten worse throughout his career, or at least recently. As you could see in his TKO loss to Max Holloway, he just looked terrible. On the other hand, Dustin Poirier seems like he's getting better and better. I mean, he almost finished Eddie Alvarez. That was kind of a controversial fight because Eddie threw that knee. But I think at first, Dustin was definitely about to knock out Eddie. Eddie did come back a little bit, but come on, it's Eddie Alvarez. He's known for coming back. So I definitely think this fight's going to be a knockdown, drag-out. But you know what? Like I said, I'm going for a bold prediction, so I'm going to say Dustin Poirier wins by second round knockout TKO. I just don't think Anthony Pettis is going to be able to handle Dustin's like volume of strikes. I think Dustin's going to outstrike Anthony, which a long time ago would have sounded crazy for me to say, but like I said, it's not the same Anthony Pettis anymore. So my prediction is Dustin Poirier by second round knockout TKO. That's going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I can deliver for you guys a little bit better than I did for UFC 217. But like I said earlier, I'm just giving my analysis. I can't predict the future, but I try my best to. Also, if you have a prediction that's different from mine, or you just want to comment something or start some argument in the comment section, feel free to, because I enjoy reading your comments, the good ones and the bad ones. So let's keep it coming for this video. Also, I want to thank you guys. I've got over 100 subscribers. I really appreciate that, so I'm going to try to deliver for you guys as much as I can. I'll keep up the good analysis. You know, I just appreciate you guys, so thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next video.